Welcome back to my channel. I'm Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. On today's video, I'm smoking up something that a lot of you guys might be afraid to eat. Beef tongue, also known as tacos de lengua. Stay tuned. All right, so what I'm starting with is 2 beef tongues. These are 2.5 pounds a piece, and I'm just gonna start with one of these here real quick and see if we need to trim any of this. This looks pretty good. When you take these out of the package, there'll be a lot of blood inside the package. Just rinse that off. I did rinse these off, and this looks actually pretty good. Usually there's a big hunk of fat in here, and this is really lean or really tender once it's cooked. This is where the majority of your meat's gonna come from. So the process, this actually looks really good out of the package, okay? So the process to tenderize your beef tongue, or to get it really nice and tender, is to boil it first. So I'm gonna boil this really hot for probably 30, maybe 40 minutes in a pot of just water that I've got right here. And I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna put in this pot of water. I'm gonna start with 3 cloves of garlic, half an onion, okay? Then we've got some bay leaves. I'm gonna probably put, I don't know, these are kind of small. Let me see, probably 5 bay leaves, just like that. I'm gonna add some salt, just a little bit of salt. Okay, I've got some half cracked pepper here. Gonna add just a little bit of pepper. Again, this is gonna give the beef tongues some really good flavor before I start to smoke it. And then I also have some beef bouillon cubes that I'm gonna throw in there. So I've got these small ones. They do sell these beef bouillon cubes a little bit bigger than that. This is that Weiler's brand. We like to use these for any soups or broths that we might be making. But 3 beef bouillon cubes in there. Real simple. Okay, and that's it. That's all I'm gonna put in this water. I'm gonna bring this up to a boil, and then at that point, I'm gonna put the beef tongues in there. I'll bring you guys back at that point. Stay tuned. All right, so my water is boiling now, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the beef tongues in there. And one of the things about beef tongue is that it's an extremely tough piece of meat. You guys may have seen me make my beef cheek tacos. It's similar to that, so you've really gotta cook it pretty good to get the meat nice and tender. Hopefully I don't overflow here. No, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna let this boil for probably 30 to 40 minutes until that skin is coming off of that tongue. Again, I'm not trying to cook this 100%. I'm just trying to get it to where that skin comes off of the tongue. Then I can season it, and I'm gonna be cooking this in my Yoder Frontiersman. So while this boils, I'm gonna go outside and get my pit going, so stay tuned, guys. All right, so you do wanna cover this with a lid, but don't just seal it completely. Open your lid just a little bit, like that. That way, if the water starts to boil, it doesn't boil over. So we'll see you guys in about 30 to 40 minutes. Stay tuned. All right, so 30 minutes later, I pulled a beef tongue out of the water, and it has been sitting for a few minutes, but it's still really hot, okay? So one thing I noticed immediately is that the skin still hasn't separated from the meat. So I'm gonna have to use my knife. I'm just using a chef's knife here, and try to cut under that skin right above that meat, if you will. Almost like trimming silver skin off of a brisket. Okay, just use a sharp knife, just like that, and start to take this skin off of the tongue here. So just try to stay right on the surface there. And if you get a little bit of meat, that's okay. Now this isn't fully cooked, okay? It's only been boiling for about 30 minutes. So I just wanted to do this, boil it first, I'm sorry, to remove the skin. Now one thing I noticed is that the skin did turn white, which is okay. I remember my grandmother making beef tongue tacos, but she would do it in a tomato sauce. She would boil the entire tongue in some type of tomato sauce and then let it shred, or she would cube it up as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take the skin off of these both of these tongues, and I'll bring you guys back. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got the skin completely off of the beef tongue, and it wasn't that bad. I use a really sharp knife. I used my cut knife, and it's extremely sharp, so you can see it was pretty easy to take the skin off of the beef tongue. So the next step, because the surface is a little wet, but I want the rubs to stick, so I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil on both of these, just to get the rub to stick. And this isn't 100% cooked, okay? It only boiled for about 30 minutes. Usually you want to boil a beef tongue for probably 2 hours, 2.5 hours. You can have this a couple of different ways. You can cook it and cube it, or you can cook it till it shreds, okay? So I want kind of an in-between. I want a cubed, extremely tender cube. So the first rub that I'm going to use is just an SPG. Okay, make sure you get the entire surface of this beef tongue. And it smells like a roast beef. That's exactly what this smells like. Okay? This is just SPG, salt, pepper, and garlic. Put enough of it over the entire surface. Just like that. And my next rub is this beef rub and seasoning from Victory Lane Barbecue. Gonna add enough of this as well. This has some really good flavor. And this is gonna be your bark builder, okay? So make sure that you add enough of this rub. Get under that tongue. I know that might sound gross to a lot of you guys, but trust me, my daughter even said that she might try it, so. And again, I remember my grandmother making this, and she would call it lengua, and I was like, okay, well, I didn't know what that was. I was learning Spanish at that time, and she taught me pretty much all the Spanish that I know, and I'm extremely thankful for that. But I didn't really know what it was until later in life. I was like, man, I was eating beef tongue, but you know what? Back in the day, if you didn't eat what Grandma cooked, there was no such thing as Hot Pockets and that kind of stuff that you can easily go to the fridge and pop in the microwave. It was, you eat what's made, right? So there we go. So I've got my frontiersman already warmed up. That's what I was doing while these beef tongues were smoking. I'm sorry, boiling. So I've got the temperature set at 275. I'll see you guys outside. Stay tuned. All right, we're outside at the Yoder Frontiersman, and my temperature on the top left side is set at 250 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and put my beef tongue in there. And I am using these sheets here that I like to use. That way, if I need to rotate the beef tongues, I can. So the reason I'm using the top left side is because I get the most smoke in my smoker right here. And I'm gonna dial it in at probably 250, 275 in that area. And all the smoke inside the smoker needs to come this way in order to exit through the exhaust, okay? And I am putting the thicker part of the tongue towards the firebox. The damper, I have it about 8 inches out, which means, and I can feel the heat right here, it's coming this way, okay? So the heat is coming from the top down. So I want to protect the smaller part of the tongue, which is it's a pretty tough piece of meat right here. So I'm okay if this gets overcooked. So we're going to check in about an hour and a half and see if we need to spritz. Stay tuned. All right, a little added bonus for those of you guys that didn't fast forward to the end of the video. I'm going to show you how I make my red salsa. This is a chile de árbol salsa. And again, those that fast forwarded don't get to see this, but you guys that stuck around for the whole video get to see how I make this salsa. So what I'm starting with is some chile de árbol, okay? You can buy this big bag. This is a, I don't know, 7.5 ounce bag. It's a big bag of this chile de árbol, and I've got about 30 of these, okay? And I did take the stem off, so just put those in the pot of water, okay? I also have 5 tomatillos, Okay, you can buy these at your grocery store. If you have a hard time finding the chile de árbol and the tomatillos, go to a Hispanic supermarket in your area and they'll have them. Okay, I also have 2 cloves of garlic that I'm going to throw in there. Okay, and a small piece of an onion. Okay, now I'm going to throw that in there as well. So get the rest of these chiles in there. And again, this is chile de árbol. Do not take the seeds out. Just take the stem off. I'm going to bring this to a boil, and I'll bring you guys back. Stay tuned. All right, so my chilies, my tomatillos, and onions and garlic have been boiling for about 30 minutes now, and the chili pods are nice and soft, and that's what you want. So just go ahead and scoop them out and put them inside the blender. Onions, everything, okay, everything you put in there. The pieces of garlic, the 2 cloves, if you will. Man, this chili is extremely hot. It's probably one of the hottest chilies and salsa that you can make, but there's certain tacos that need this. You almost have to have this salsa, and because of the flavor of it. Now, one of the things that my grandmother used to do when she made this salsa, she would actually burn the chili pods just over the flame on the stove, just probably about half of it, just to kind of get a little bit toasty, if you will, and that gives it a nice smoky flavor. So you can do that. Just turn the, let me grab one of these. Just turn the pepper on the flame and get it a little bit charred, okay? And that gives you a nice smoky flavor. So we're gonna add a little bit of the water, just a little bit to start. We can always add a little bit more. Then we're gonna blend it, so cover your ears. And look at this. There's that red salsa that you guys have been asking me about. Okay, ready for my tacos. So that's a lot of peppers for this little container of salsa, but trust me, you need this for these tacos. Stay tuned. All right, 1 hour into the cook now. Let's take a look at these beef tongues. Oh yeah, getting a nice color. So look at that, beautiful. So I'm gonna go ahead and spin these now and put the thinner part of the beef tongue towards that firebox to get these cooked a little bit more, because you can see they're kind of lacking a little bit of that color. So I'm gonna let them smoke like this for probably 40 minutes. And then at that point, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap these in butcher paper. Let's get an internal temperature here. Let's show you guys this. We're at 155 degrees. Okay, so just like most beef products, I'm probably gonna cook this to, well, at least 200 degrees, but I want it nice and tender. So we're at 155 now. We'll see you guys in 1 hour. Stay tuned. All right, so 2.5 hours into the cook now. Again, that was 30 minutes boiling and then 2 hours in my smoker. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap because I've got the color that I want. So let me show you these, let me show you that beef tongue. Look at that. It's got that brisket look on the rub. And I'm gonna go ahead and get an internal temperature here. All right, I'm at 165. Okay, so 165. But again, I got the color that I want, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop it there. Now, I never wrapped a beef tongue before, but it can't be that difficult, right? Actually, it's still really juicy. I'm not gonna spritz or anything. Let's turn this way here. Just like that, real simple wrapping. Stuff the paper in there. I'm gonna pop it back in the smoker just like this. And I'm gonna monitor the temperature. I wanna shoot for 200 degrees or until it's tender. So I'm gonna go back in the smoker. We'll see you guys in about an hour. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so the beef tongue is ready. And the smaller beef tongue took 4.5 hours, and the larger one took about 5 hours total. And the internal temperature was 195 when they were extremely tender. So I haven't opened these at all, so you guys get to see this with me. And surprisingly, the beef cheek has a lot of fat in it, because look at how saturated this paper is. Oh yeah. Smells like a brisket. Interesting enough, it smells like a brisket. Let's check on, that's a smaller one. This is a larger one that took 30 minutes longer. I could have sworn they were both 2.5 pounds, but maybe this one was just a little bit bigger. So again, I didn't add anything to the butcher paper, or to the wrap, I should say, and it's extremely juicy. So it tells me there was a lot of fat probably inside the beef tongue itself. So here's one of them, and this is the larger one. So this is what we look like. I want to squeeze it, see what it feels like. It's tender. It's tender, still really juicy in there. So I don't know of a way to slice this. It looks like the grains are running in this direction. Let me just take a slice off of this here. Oh yeah, we got a smoke ring, believe it or not. And again, it smells like roast beef. Got a nice smoke ring as well. This little smaller piece is a little too well done for me, so I might not even, well, I might eat those. But look at that smoke ring that I got. Really interesting. So these are some of the bigger pieces. Okay. Just gonna chop this up. All right, guys, looks like the battery on my camera died, so I think I was right here, and I was just about to chop these when the camera just went click. So you can see how tender this beef tongue is, and I'm tempted to try it just like this, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hang on for the tacos. So just chop it up really nice and fine. I'm gonna leave a link up top to Chef Saito's channel. He's a chef that I absolutely love his channel. He's a brand new channel. I left links on my channel before, so you guys can watch his channel. But the reason I'm leaving that link up top is because he recently did a beef tongue, and he peeled the skin off, or he actually used his knife to trim the skin off of the beef tongue, and then cut it and then cooked it. And it was an interesting way to do it. I think that by boiling it with the ingredients that I boiled this tongue, I think that you'll introduce some flavor to it. But check out his channel and tell him I sent you over there. He runs a really good channel. I mean, he's a chef. He's a trained chef, so he does a great job. But look at the smoke ring on these pieces. From what I can tell, it's extremely tender. Okay, so I'm just going to chop this up, and I'm going to dice it a little bit more. I'm going to throw this piece in there too. And these pieces, this was the tip of the tongue. I think it's got a little overdone, so I'm not going to use those pieces because I don't want any crunchy pieces. So I'm just going to dice this up, and I'll bring you guys back. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got my beef tongue completely diced up here, and there's some small pieces. There's some little bit bigger pieces as well. So that's what we look like there. I've got some corn tortillas in here that I lightly fried, and just put a little bit of oil in the pan. It's not a complete fry, if you will, a fried tortilla. Just put a little bit of oil in the pan and warm up the tortilla that way. So I've got 3 corn tortillas here. Gonna add some of the smoked beef tongue into each taco, just like this. Man, it smells good, guys. It smells really good. It's like a, it smells like smoked steak. So at this point, Got some onions right here. Put some onions in each taco here. And I also chopped up some cilantro. I love cilantro. It's good stuff. Brings out the flavor in tacos for sure. A little bit more cilantro here. Okay. And then the last thing is some of the red salsa that I made. Fresh homemade salsa. This is chile de árbol, which is extremely hot. So just put a little bit on there to your liking. You guys know I like it spicy, so I tend to put a little bit more than most. All right, gonna back the camera up and give it a taste. Stay tuned. All right, so let's give these tacos a taste. One last thing is to add a little bit of lime to each taco. Just like that. Oh man, these are gonna be so good. The smell is absolutely amazing. So grab this bad boy out of here. And again, this was lightly fried. So here we go. Cheers. That meat is tender, really tender. Flavor-wise, it's beefy, but it's kind of like it's in a flavor profile on its own. Okay, it's kind of like beef cheeks. It's hard to describe that flavor, but I got to tell you, these are delicious. Let me try another bite here. That salsa, spicy. Really tender, really delicious. Guys, this is a home run. You know that one beef tongue made enough tacos, the large one, which I looked at the packages and it was 2.68 pounds. The other one was like 2.38 pounds. So that one beef tongue will probably feed 10 people easily because you diced it up really nice. You know, I don't have any rice or beans as a side to these tacos, but just know that a 2.5 pound beef tongue will probably make enough tacos for 10 people, especially if you make them like the way I did. Super, super good. I will make these again. Will I change anything? Maybe next time I smoke a beef tongue, instead of wrapping it in the butcher paper, maybe I do it like I did in my beef cheek video, my barbacoa video, where I take the beef tongue and place it on a bed of onions, put some beef broth in there, and cover it and let that kind of steam up a little bit, and maybe end up with a shredded beef tongue instead of a chopped. But this is absolutely delicious. I'm glad I made this. Thanks for watching. Until next time, Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. See ya.